We are only a week into the NFL season, and of course there's already tons of behind-the-scenes action just too good to hide. Some injuries, some heavy losses, some player exits, and some trades. We've got it all. On today's radar, we have Zach Wilson and his injury. Before we give more away, let's dive right in. First and foremost, let's see how it all began. We're afraid we have some bad news for the fans of Zach Wilson. The New York Jets announced Wednesday that Zach Wilson will miss at least 3 games as he recovers from arthroscopic knee surgery, just 2 days after hinting that he might play in their season opener. We don't know what that is, but it certainly does sound painful. Wilson won't play against the Pittsburgh Steelers until Week 4, according to Jets coach Robert Saleh. That means the Jets will start the season with Joe Flacco at quarterback beginning on Sunday at MetLife Stadium against the Baltimore Ravens, who drafted him in 2008. Saleh said they're going to make sure that Wilson's mind and body are both at 100% and that they do the right thing by him. He further added that from talking to the doctors, it was going to be that Pittsburgh week. Wilson sustained a meniscus tear and bone bruise during a non-contact play against the Philadelphia Eagles on August 12th. Ouch. He underwent the procedure 4 days later, which the team described as a minor trim to the meniscus. Speaking publicly for the first time since the injury, Wilson stated that for what it is, he's very optimistic he'll be able to get back and play football the way he wants to this season. We sure do hope so, Zach. Here's how the team is dealing with the entire conundrum. The team never announced a timetable for his return, but a little birdie told us it would be 2 to 4 weeks, which now seems like a long time. Wilson would not play until he was an absolute 100%, according to team officials. All signs pointed to Flacco starting the first game or two, but Saleh added a much-needed twist Monday by saying Wilson could start against the Ravens. What's a season without some gamesmanship? Because Wilson playing against the Ravens was never a serious option, it was more likely a ploy, though Ravens coach John Harbaugh said he isn't surprised that Flacco is starting. That's not all that happened. The player himself had some comments about his injury. Wilson said he knew he'd missed the first 3 games the moment he walked out of surgery. He later retracted his statement, claiming he never had an exact timetable. According to Saleh, he hadn't had any setbacks, and the bone bruise is a bigger concern than the meniscus. The details just keep getting gorier, don't they? This isn't even the worst of the injuries that players have faced, but that's a story for another time. We think it's about time we address what's going on in the mind of the coach. Let's take a look. There's always that hope, Saleh said while explaining the comments he made on Monday, but doctors and team officials decided late Tuesday night that it's not worth the risk, he added. Can't say we don't agree. Saleh further explained there's the knee element, the mental element, and the practice element. All in all, many things besides that poor knee need to be taken into consideration. In case you didn't know, Wilson has been absent from 14 practices and 2 preseason games. Last season, he sprained the same knee and missed 4 games as a result. Saleh insisted his quarterback is not prone to injuries, calling it bad luck. Wilson stated that he's not concerned about the knee's long-term stability. Now, don't get us wrong, we are happy that Zach is feeling so optimistic, but don't you think he's taking his injury a tad bit too lightly? He's recently stated that he's in a good place and is especially happy with where he's at with all the rehab they've put him through. You guys, we don't know what to feel. Why don't you be the judge of whether he should be more worried about his knee? What's more, Wilson's comments on his game have us even more concerned. Wilson stated he can drop back and throw, but cannot run. Now, he could have been placed on short-term injured reserve, which would have kept him out for 4 games, but the Jets chose not to do so because they want him to be able to practice while he recovers. This is a setback for the Jets, who had high hopes for a productive offseason following a 4-13 record last season. So of course they turned to Flacco, the team's oldest player at 37 years old. Saleh stated that Joe had been practicing lately and that he's absolutely incredible. I'm excited for him and his opportunity. Even at 37, I know it's in the back of his head that he's getting a chance to play Baltimore. Let's wrap up this conversation with a glance at Flacco's legacy. Flacco has lost 7 consecutive games, with the last 5 being with the Jets. He hasn't started a season opener since the Denver Broncos in 2019. So, of course, this game is likely to be extra special for him because he'll be facing the team that led to a Super Bowl victory after the 2012 season. Lamar Jackson, the Ravens' current starter, took his place late in the 2018 season. This is Flacco's first game against the Ravens since being traded to Denver in 2019. We're excited for you, Joe. Show him what you got. Now, we have some other news that might interest you. First up, let's see what's next for Lamar Jackson. This might not come as a surprise, but as of this Friday, the Baltimore Ravens confirmed that they were unable to reach an agreement with quarterback Lamar Jackson, who, unrepresented by an agent, is delaying the most high-profile contract talks in the NFL until after the season and increasing the scrutiny every time Jackson takes the field. We can't imagine the pressure he feels. When Jackson throws a game-winning touchdown pass, the reaction will be about how he increased his value and how the Ravens blew it by not signing an extension. When Jackson makes a mistake or takes a big hit, some will say he should have signed a contract before the season and cost himself himself millions. But that's how the politics of this game work. Now the question remains, will Jackson get the franchise tag next year? This is where the Ravens and Jackson will end up unless they can reach an agreement, which they have been working on for the last 20 months without success. The deadline for teams to use the franchise tag is March 7th. If the sides are unable to reach an agreement by then, the Ravens will be forced to use the franchise tag on a quarterback for the first time in the franchise's 27-year history to keep Jackson from becoming an unrestricted free agent. If he plays under the exclusive franchise tag in 2023, Jackson will earn $45 million. Only time will tell what happens. Next up, with the Queen's death, let's glance back at her interest in American football. As the world remembers Queen Elizabeth II, the DC area recalls some of the unique events that have occurred during her visits over the years. The Queen's first ever American football game was a memorable occasion. It occurred on October 9, 1957 at the University of Maryland in College Park. 1957, folks. Most of us weren't even born back then. The game became known as the Queen's Game, and that's how it was marketed. The Queen and Prince Philip had visited President Dwight Eisenhower at the White House, but they also wanted to see a football game. The University of Maryland Terrapins were in town at the same time as the University of North Carolina Tar Heels, so they decided to go over there and check it out. Several photos from the game show the Queen surrounded by large football players. She also had a meeting with Maryland Governor Theodore McKeldin. The Queen and the Governor of Maryland stood with the team's captains and inspected the coin that would be used for the coin toss, and Prince Philip received an autographed football. The game was won by the Terps 21-7. What a glorious day to win. Lastly, pundits are near unanimous in picking the Ravens over the Jets. Here's what we have on this. The fact that the Ravens will be facing Joe Flacco for the first time since trading the Super Bowl 47 MVP after the 2018 season has added intrigue to their season opener Sunday night against the New York Jets. But the vast majority of pundits aren't expecting much drama in terms of the game's outcome. The Ravens, who are 7-point favorites, were picked to win by 45 of the 46 pundits polled. 19 of the 26 people who predicted the score believe the Ravens will win by double digits. The only analyst to pick the Jets is NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah, who predicts a 24-23 win. Here's a sample of what the pundits are saying about the game. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense will be too much for the Jets defense. So what are your thoughts on this? That's a wrap for this video. Let us know in the comments below what you think of Wilson's injury. Do you think he should play? Hit like and click that subscribe button, and we'll be back with another video. See you next time.